in case of most of you haven't noticed, I changed the channel name from Lifestyle by Eddie to Eddie's Journal. And this is mainly because after doing the OMAD diet, I kind of realized like this is more like a journal because I'm literally just documenting what I do every day. And I felt like despite that as well, there's also this occasional stuff that I embark on, like the culture shocks and everything, and they're all based on my opinion. So it's only fair that I give it like a more suiting name. So it doesn't mean we're gonna change our perspective on what I'm gonna focus on mainly on this channel. It's just me trying to give it a more appropriate name, since so far I realize my content is mostly based on my opinion on things, and I hope you guys don't mind. So welcome to Eddie's Journal. By the way guys, there's a background noise and that's the rain. It's raining today. That's why I'm in a hoodie. And by the way, I tie-dyed this by myself. And you won't believe, like, I had a neighbor that actually asked if he can buy it from me, and I didn't even think I did a good job, guys. Let me know down below, like, does it look okay? The tie-dye. Yeah. So anyway, I don't wanna go any further, but yeah, there's the rain and I think there's people fixing the floor downstairs. Yeah, it's taking a long time. But today we're gonna do culture shocks part 2. Yeah, because the first one did really well, so I just figured let me do another one, because I feel like there's like every single day I learn something new here. And I don't know if it's like a good or bad thing, but I think it's more on the good side, because I feel like it's never a given. There's some surprising stuff every time. So the first one is all you can eat buffet. I don't know if it's buffet or buffet. I've used buffet all my life, but people use buffet here, which sounds weird to me. So I'm just gonna call it whatever that comes to mind whenever, anyway. So let's go on. Definitely had to start with food. Me and food and friends. Anyway, the thing is, I know in Kenya there's buffets, but I know the Kenyan buffets are mostly based on like ceremonies, like special ceremonies or like seminars. And I know like they're only done like specifically in hotels, like when there's stuff like that, basically, like if there's like a seminar or anything like that. But let me know maybe if I'm wrong, but that's all I knew, that the buffets only exist when you go to either weddings or there's like a seminar somewhere at a hotel and you get a buffet. But even so, the buffets here are so different. Like there's like a specific restaurant just based on buffets. Like they have lunch buffet, breakfast buffet, dinner buffets, and it's crazy because I got cut off. But anyway, the thing I was trying to say is, hey, the buffets here are like how can I say it? Okay, let me speak on a personal level, because I don't want to generalize, because that is, you know, I might be wrong at some point. So let me just talk on my experience. So I went to a Chinese buffet and it was a dinner buffet, and of course I was surprised because there's like everything. There's seafood, there's desserts, there's cakes, there's fruits, there's like pork fried rice. Yani literally kila kitu, guys. Alafu, so I went with a friend and the friend was like, oh, you can just get a plate and pick whatever you want to eat. So the plate I picked, I'm like, this plate is too small for me, you know? And not that I wanted to eat a lot of food, but I'm just like, why is it so small? So I'm like, okay, so can I get like 2 plates? And he's like, well, you can get like 1 plate and get like something, and then the food, then you go eat, then you can come back and eat and get something else. So for me, I was just like, oh wow, really? Like, do they count how many times you eat? And he's like, no, you eat whatever you want, like just pick anything and you can eat as much as you want. Like you can literally just sit here and eat everything. And I'm like, and how much is this? And he was like, it's just $11. And guys, $11, that's like, I'm just going to approximate, in Kenya that's like a K and some change, like just a little bit more, maybe 1,200 or 1,300, but you get to eat as much as you want, literally, like kila kitu unataka, you know. So for me, I was so surprised. Afu pia na ushamba yangu, I was like, oh, watu wanione tinakula mob nini. So I just had like some pork fried rice, some vegetables. Alafu nikaku. Of course I got cut off again. But of course the thing is, the difference between this and the Kenyan one, umejua Kenya unajua tu buffet, like ukishaenda malipa kuku, when you go for round 2 kuku imeisha, like literally hakuna kuku tena. But here it's different. Ikiisha they come and add some more. So if you wanted to eat like shrimp, or you want to eat some lobster, not real lobster, like I think like small chunks of lobster, you'll find it in there, because I think lobster is expensive here. So anyway, Ushambangu, that was initially when I came here, and people here are so nice, because they come and they go like, oh, let me take you somewhere, because they know that you've never really experienced that, and they take you somewhere. And that was my experience. But of course, Ushambangu sikushiba, nilitoka hapo na ringa. But yeah, if you take me now, that's a different story. Like, I definitely use the buffet like nitakula. So yeah, that's one thing that is so different here. Okay, number two, we have, okay, that it's not really like a shock to me though, because I think I've been here enough, so now I'm kind of getting used to it. But there's like over friendly people, literally, like it's so awkward ukikaa mahali ni strange eti mtu asiongee na wewe. In Kenya mimi nimezoea like unaweza kaa kwa mat na usiongee na mtu the whole way mpaka you get to where you're going to. But huku it's so strange because huyo mtu amekaa karibu na wewe atakuwa anataka ku strike a conversation, unajua. And usually the people here, they overshare, like they talk about their personal business. Ile yenye you're like, okay, am I supposed to know that? I don't think I'm supposed to know that. But they just go off. Unajua, like nika, it's literally like just telling a stranger your business. And I understand maybe people are overwhelmed, or people go through things, and that's maybe a way of them for venting or something. But it's strange to me, honestly. For me, when I was growing up, I learned that business ya nyumba, you don't go outside talking about it. But then uku watu ajali, and I have an example where we went for a swim, and there's this kid. That was a kid though, but I've had grown-ups actually just tell me about whatever, you know. So this kid was like, I was with my brother-in-law, and this kid was looking at my brother-in-law so much. She just popped out and she's like, you look so much like my daddy. And my brother-in-law is like, oh really, is he tall like me? And the girl is like, yeah, he's tall like you, he looks exactly like you. And then he's like, but he doesn't live with us anymore, and he never eats fast food. And I'm just like, these are so random things to say, but then at the same time I'm just like, Daniel Puliza, you're just saying like random stuff about your dad. And he's like, yeah, he doesn't live with us anymore. And I was like, oh, and my mom never lets me see him as much. I haven't seen him for a very long time. And it looked like she was sad, kinda. And my brother-in-law was feeling so awkward. I could tell, and I was looking at him like, yo, how are you gonna deal with that? But still, at the same time, kuna watu, you know. And it's so strange because ata my nephew and nieces, sometimes they just like talk, but then they never really, you know, randomly. I know for kids, they don't really know that, they don't have that sense of, you know. But for grown-ups, you find even like an old mama telling you like, oh, I've been trying to do this. It's just, I don't know, it's just weird to me. So yeah, that's number two. Like they overshare, and I feel like it's too friendly for me. Honestly, I'm not a talking person until I actually get used to the environment. But in a normal sense, never talk. Oh, and another one is this one was one time I went to it's a diner, and then of course I was having breakfast and stuff, and I ordered coffee, and it was so strange because this lady kept coming every 5 minutes like, is everything okay, do you need anything? And I'm just like, oh, we're okay, thank you. And she'd go, and then she'd come back again, and she's like, do you want me to refill your coffee? And I'm like, oh, okay. And she'd refill it. And the first time she did that, I was like, oh, okay. Do they charge for it? But they don't. They actually just, it's common sense actually, because it's like when you're drinking your coffee, right, and you're talking to somebody else, chances are over time it gets cold, right? So she has to come check like if she can refill it for you. To have to bear with me because the app I'm using, I can only record for like a minute long, so I constantly get cut off. But of course I'm gonna edit it so you guys don't get the cuts so much. But anyway, yeah, so that was strange to me, and the constant check-in, like, are you okay, do you need anything? And by the way, huku pia, if you're at a restaurant, unajua Kenya venye ukishamaliza kula unainua mkono eti leta bill ama nini, you don't do that. Ama unaita wait table come, they don't do that here. They just this eye contact thing where you just look at them and you just nod, and they know like, okay, you need them, you know. So to me, that was also different. So yeah, I just realized like most of these culture shocks that I have are mostly based on restaurants and food, and my two favorite things. Anyway, let me what's on your jingle. Anyway, so listen, the fourth, I don't know if it's the fourth, but let me just continue. There's the tipping culture. Uku, there's mostly the people who work in the service industry, they literally earn minimum wage. I think that's my assumption, and they don't make enough to, you know, to sustain them, so they mostly rely on tips, and tips are like 20%. I'm sorry, I zoned off a little bit. I do that a lot. I was staring at something. Anyway, so they mostly rely on tips, and tips is like 20% of, yeah. So the tipping culture it's actually a thing. It's like you're supporting them. So usually every receipt you get, there's the tip part, and in Kenya misijazoea hiyo kutip. Now pia I know that most waiters in Kenya, they'd actually go serve an outside person like a Mzungu or an European or a Westerner, because they know of that, like these people tip. But wa Kenya sini lakini si pia tuko kwa shida though, so it's kind of hard to tip when wepia you don't have enough money, so that is understandable. But huku people actually tip all the time. You have to, so 20% of whatever you order, you give it them. It's not necessarily 20, but whatever you have, you give it, you tip them. So that's also one of the things I realized. Okay, another one is actually I don't know, I've seen people like when they see like someone in combat uniform, or if someone actually just mentions like, oh, I'm in the military, or I was in the military, everybody just says, thank you for your service, thank you for your service. And I find that so nice, because I'm just like, you actually appreciate these soldiers. Kenya na wa KDF, I don't know, sidhani kama wa Kenya. I'm not gonna diss anybody, I'm not gonna say anything, but we all know au ma GSU sijui ma KDF na sijui nani au tunawajua. So I don't know if people ever tell them that, but I think it would actually feel good if someone was actually in the army and they get people thanking them. So I usually see people do that. And yeah, and by the way, and I've seen this like, and apart even in planes, like they actually announce when there's a veteran or a soldier in the plane, and people will clap for them. And I've actually also heard like when you're in the lineup to get into a plane, they give first priorities to the first class, the old people and stuff like that, and they actually give the veterans or people in the military a chance, like the top chances. So I find that so good. Like it actually is, I don't know, it's respectful, it's polite, it's everything nice. Yeah. So yeah, so if anybody ever tells you here like I was in the military, you have to just say thank you for yourself. And the next one, I know I mentioned this in the previous culture shock video about nutritional facts on every single food item you get, but this one was actually shocking for me, because in restaurants they actually have like calories, the number of calories on whatever you order. So if you're ordering a steak, they tell you like, oh, it's this much calories, depending on how they make it. So if it's like steak with butter and stuff like that, they tell you, which I feel like is still annoying to me. The whole calorie thing is annoying, because I'm just like, now I can't even have like a dessert, because I'm just guilt-tripped into thinking how much calories it has. Yeah, it's annoying. I don't like that. Okay, next one is the daylight saving time. I don't know if you guys know this, and I think I mentioned it in one of my videos, and it was a story time. Do you know there's actually unajua, like the way you always buy a phone and you get like there's a daylight saving time, and you never really figure out what that is for. You never even use it. You only just see it sailo umeboeka na simu, and then you start scrolling on the features of your phone and you actually see there's like daylight saving. Here it's actually a thing where people, like when we go from will I even remember this? When we go from winter to spring, the days get longer and the nights get shorter, so they have to save some daylight saving. I don't know if you understand, but yeah, so they have to like add an hour to their daytime, and then when we go into the winter, they take 1 hour. So that's what that is, and it's very, and the thing is, unaweza enda kulala kama like now you go to sleep, alafu you wake up venye unamkanga kawaida, you wake up at 9, you find it's actually 10 o'clock, and there's days when you'd actually go to sleep and you usually wake up at 9, but you find it's 8 o'clock. So it's very confusing, by the way. Yeah, so and yeah, so but the good thing is like even the gadgets, the devices, the phones and everything, they're set to that, like they can actually just automatically switch to that, so you don't have to do it like manually. So that's also one thing that I was actually surprised about, and I'm just like, why can't you just leave the sun to just, you know, and you go like, oh, today is the day is longer. I don't know why, I honestly don't get it, but yeah, it exists. And this is my last one, and I think it's actually the best one, because I'm just like, there was this time where you know, you'd order stuff, or you can buy anything, like you'd buy anything in a store, but usually I order stuff online, and honestly there's actually a return button where you can say, okay, I don't want it, I want to return it, and the moment you just start the return process, they refund back your money, like full money, and I found that, so I don't know, it's a good thing. And people have used this in different ways, because I've seen people, I don't know if you guys saw movies where when I was back in Kenya, I used to see movies where people would go to a store and get like a really expensive dress, right? And then they'd take it back and they'd get the refund. Like they'd go to the event with that dress, but make sure they don't spill anything on it or mess it up, and then they'd take it back. But here, listen guys, I saw that in movies and I was just like, maybe it's just because it's in the movies, but it's actually real. Like you'd actually go to a store, right? You have an event, maybe there's like a dinner and you need like a really expensive dress, and you don't have the money to like splurge on an expensive dress at the moment. So you can go buy the dress, do not remove the tag, you go to the event, like you take it back, like return it, so long as there's no damages to the dress, they give you a full refund. And I'm just like, that is so interesting, and that is like the best thing ever. Is my wedding, what we do in Kenya, I wish they had that in Kenya, but again I understand why they don't. Not that I'm dissing. So guys, those are like some of the culture shocks, and of course this is gonna be like a series, because again, like I said, I always have like new things I discover here which are so different from the country I am from. And yeah, so those are some of them. I hope you guys like them, and of course subscribe and like the video per usual, and let me know if you guys like my hoodie, the tie and dye one. Yeah, so I just tied and dyed it with the bleach. Yeah, I'm surprised someone actually wanted to buy it, but yeah. So you guys, let me know if you like this series, and oh, excuse me, I'm drinking coffee. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.